Hello, beautiful people. My name is Lakshmi Dedi, and welcome to episode 15 of the Conscious Hotline, your source for all things conscious and hot. Hope you're saying it with me, y'all, because at this point, that's the motto. So I am so blessed and grateful and excited to have an episode on friendship today with none other than my best friend, Hailey Hosler, who I have been blessed to know for, believe it or not, 15 years. I can't believe it. I would feel old, but we met when I was so young that I still feel very youthful. Thank you very much. So she'll be joining us and drop the show, put them in the comments, and we'll get this party started, baby. Hi.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, cutie. Thanks for bearing with me. It was quite the insane.
It sounds like it.
Dilemma. Yeah, watching someone in their 70s fall and hit their head on wood was like a terrifying experience.
I was feeling for you.
Yeah, but we're here now, and I'm in the AC, and I'm feeling good. I'm looking at your beautiful face. So
I love
thanks
this
for joining.
wallpaper you have too.
Thank you. This is my bedroom. You'll see it soon enough.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Conscious Hotline. We like to start off every episode with a little juicy question to kind of let the people know more about you. So, given that this is about friendship, I want to hear about someone that you befriended for the wrong reasons and what that was.
Ooh. Wow. Okay, we're starting hot. Gosh. We've talked about this a lot, but my whole time in San Francisco was confusing. And part of that was friendships. And I befriended a lot of people, I think, because I was just like, I felt I was so lonely. And I preferred to just fill my time with anyone who would spend time with me instead of, I was so uncomfortable with being alone. So I think there were a lot of people that I befriended or that I spent time with that I chose over being by myself.
That's real.
That's something that's really shifted for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that with a smile, because I know we both used to do that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one summer I printed out the calendars like June, July, August, and I gave it to Perry, our friend from middle school. And I was like, okay, so mark what days you want to hang out, because I'm planning out my summer. And she's like, I am not putting my name on a calendar. You're my best friend. Like, I'm going to see you when I see you. And I think it was that, like, not wanting to be alone, right? So, like, let me fill my summer.
Yeah.
What 14-year-old is like, here's the calendar, schedule your time with me 3 months in advance.
Yes. I remember that. Well, I'm honored that I made it on the calendar a couple times. That's all right.
Well, you're 5 blocks away, so it's easy.
I get to do walk-in appointments.
Yeah. Those within a 1 mile radius. Yeah. Fun. Well, beautiful. Thanks for joining us and being so vulnerable already from the get. And I think this topic of, forever friendships, how to build a bond that lasts, is so pertinent, especially now that relationships are being tried. Like, quarantine has really magnified everything that already is existing in friendship. So if the friendship was weak, the quarantine would make it weaker. If the friendship was strong, like I've never felt more connected and closer to you. I wore my birthday earrings from you.
I saw that. I noticed that. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked almost every single day, right?
It's good. Yeah.
It's been really good.
And Hailey Hosler's your best friend.
It's been a really incredible just touchstone of like, wow, there's so much insanity. Like, what is stable and good in my life? And you've been an answer to that question pretty much every single day.
Thank you. And same. Yeah, it feels so good to have that like person I can call no matter how many times. Like, I don't care if it's our 10th phone call today. Like, I can call. Yeah. You're not gonna be like, yikes.
Yeah. Right. I know. I'm like, this is too much. I have to say, it feels really good to be able to be that person too, because I know, our friendship has been in flux. There's been times when I'm the stronger one and we're kind of leaning on me, and there's definitely been a full year that was you, and it feels good to kind of be a little more in balance at this point and both be strong for each other.
Yeah, Miss Sexy Sober Hailey.
Thank you. I love you added that.
It's a hair flip moment. Yeah, you totally, now you're the one that like has all of your shit together. And I'm like, okay.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all my shit together.
It feels that way. It looks that way on Instagram. Me saying that reminds me of the Britney Spears song that's like, she's so lucky, she's a star, but she cried.
Is that our theme song?
You don't know it? You know it, right?
I know it.
Yeah. Like, take it home. Listen to my life then.
The rest of this podcast is just you singing that full song.
Why do these tears come at night is the end.
I love it.
So yeah, I mean, I love what you touched on too, because there's like the ebb and flow. And I think it's also powerful to say, like, there were times when we didn't talk, extended periods of time, where times where like you didn't want to talk to me, or times where I felt like I couldn't access you, you know, even like the phone call thing. I remember in high school and a bit in college feeling like you get her if you get her, and if you don't, you don't. And like, if you run into her at the store, you might be able to hang out with her, but otherwise, good luck tracking her down.
Yeah. Well, you know, my New Year's resolution this year was to be a better friend to less people. So that sounds so harsh, I think, but it's really become important to me because I was getting that feedback from a lot of people. Like, I just don't know when, you know, you might flake. And I realized that I was trying to be best friends with everyone in my life. And I was trying to show up in the way that, like, humans really only have the energetic capacity to show up for, like, I mean, I say 5 at the level that you and I are at.
Yeah.
Really only 1 in its uniqueness, the level that you and I are at. But I was trying to do that for 100 people or 50 people. And that's just, it's not fair to me. And it's really not fair to the people that I really want to be there and show up as that friend for.
Yeah. I can relate. I remember even just a year ago, it was normal for me to wake up to 35 to 50 text messages a day. And like, on average, I was communicating with about 50 people a day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, like, it's so interesting how now you'd think, oh, we're more available because of quarantine. And it's like, no, I'm way more guarded with my time. And I'm way less likely to make friends with someone at the grocery store and hang out with them beyond one time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And maybe one day it'll be, I don't even hang out with them. Maybe I'll get
right. Yeah. And I honestly, I set those boundaries with some people, like, as a gift to you, even, you know, I think, you know, I really can't show up for as many people because I have this commitment to be accountable for my best friend and my people that are like family.
I love that. And I feel that definitely.
But that's a really tough one for me too. I want to be liked, and I love people. I love people. And I love getting, you know, going deep with people right away. But that sort of like commitment that you and I have of I'm committed to you, like, available to you 24 hours a day, essentially.
Same. Yeah. And at the same time, I think something that's so beautiful about both of us is we can say, I don't have space, or we'll check in like, hey, do you have 10 minutes to process this with me?
Yes. You taught me how to do that. You very beautifully. You went off and learned that on your own and then came back and brought it back to this friendship, which I love.
Wing seminars, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so powerful, I think, like, for both of us, because then again, we know that the person that you can meet me.
Yes.
And I can meet you. And if you don't have the space or you're not in the mood, that you can advocate, and I can trust and believe that you'll advocate for yourself. And I'm not over here like
100%. Yeah. I can't remember which one of us, we've had this conversation before, but I love this visual of, you know, boundary isn't necessarily a wall or a fence between me and you. Sometimes it's a fence around the two of us so that we know we can play safely and share safely within this this container that we've created. I love that. And I think you and I practice that often.
Yeah. So what would you say are some healthy boundaries that we have in our friendship? Because I feel like people talk about friendship and boundaries is not like the sexy part of friendship.
Sure. But boundaries is what saved you and I. I mean, you and I have come to each other and we've had to set boundaries. And I think that's why
I was going to say, we also had no boundaries.
Right.
Like, let the listeners know.
Yeah, we grew up in a place Very little. Absolutely.
Like, I'll never forget the time we graduated 8th grade. We went back to visit in the summer because I lived across the street from our middle school. Okay. And our homeroom teacher, who I love and will never hold it against her, dared you to like put a pad across my butt. You like slapped my butt and you had a pad on my butt. And I was wearing these weird horns we'd found in the lockers. And she like sent us to go get coffee down the street for her. And I remember like going through the streets like, ah! And like I was acting crazy because I was 14 and I was wearing horns. But I didn't know that you'd smacked a pad, like a big maxi pad across my butt. And so we get back to school and I finally looked and I was like, oh my God, I have a huge pad across my butt. And you guys were like, hey, and it was like so terrifying. You know, I'm 14, so I'm
wow.
Like, what did I look like? And it's so funny how like I was already acting crazy, but then knowing that I had a pad across my butt the whole time, like really freaked me out. Like people really thought I was crazy, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so you took this in a very different direction. Do we need to process that?
No,
I know what you're saying though. That we came from zero boundaries and we learned them.
Yeah.
Together, which is really, it's been amazing. Yeah. So, okay. So your question was, what are some ways we've practiced healthy boundaries in our friendship? Mm-hmm. So you said it. It's so fun to see who's joining, by the way.
I know, it's so fun. Hi, everyone.
I'm like, all these different people. Did you know a couple people from middle school? But they didn't, I don't think they stayed. They were like, oh, these girls.
These two again. Those girls are crazy.
So you said it perfectly that you check in. So when you call me and you're having a really hard day, you say, can you hold space for this? Do you have a minute to chat? And that's not something that like I was accustomed to practicing. But when you do that, and you also create a safe space for me to say, no, I'm not in that space right now, but I will be in 20 minutes or I will be, tomorrow. And like I've had experiences in my life with family and whatnot where setting a boundary wasn't always the safest. Like it led to hurt feelings, it led to guilt. And I think you and I do a really excellent job of, there's a request, and if that request needs to be delayed or if there's a no, like we have an agreement that our feelings aren't hurt and that we'll come back to it later.
Yeah, I think that's a great boundary we have. Another boundary that we had to create, I think through hardship, was both of us have experienced toxic, unhealthy relationships. And both of us were definitely like for me, I can say I shouldn't have been in that relationship for as long as I was. Yeah. And everyone in my life, like that was all they could say was like, get out of there. What are you still doing? And it got to the point where it was like, look, I can't talk to you and talk about that.
Yeah.
And we both had to do that because there was a time for like me where it was all I could say to you. It was like, why are you still with him? Why are you still with him? What?
That's real. That's super real. That's super real.
Yeah. And I think that was a hard boundary. And like when we talk about a friendship built to last, like I don't want to say this is like a good thing, but what's coming to me is sometimes you have to let your best friend do some fucked up shit and watch them fall and like watch it in slow motion happening. And like, it's like knowing that they've never ridden a bike and they took off their own training wheels before they ever tried to bike with training wheels. And you're like, this is going to be a disaster, but like letting them fail.
That's super real. That's absolutely. And that's really hard. Right. And if you're okay with going there, you experienced me being in deep in my addiction to drugs. And that must have been so hard as a friend to like be able to see and have known me when I wasn't there and then see me go through that and just love me through that. But you actually had someone else on this show talking specifically about addiction, and they said to me so beautifully that they didn't hold any resentment for people who set boundaries with them during that time because they saw it as an act of self-love to set boundaries with someone who was just not ready to get healthy. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I heard that on your show, I thought about you, and I thought about that you did such an excellent job of, I never felt abandoned by you, but you took care of yourself in my addiction, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting to be best friends with someone going through addiction, having just dated someone that was they went through addiction and sobriety, and I was with them for that journey. And
Sure.
then notice the differences too, right? Like everyone has a different way of going about it. And to see you dive so deep into the work, there is an element for me as your best friend of like, whew, I really think that she's not going to go back there. Like, I think that's really done. And like, that feels good for me and you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
again, that like letting someone fail, right? Like as much as I may have wanted to like Captain Save a Hoe, it was like, not that you're a hoe or I'm a captain, but.
You are captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, so that whole experience for me has shifted what I look for in a friend and a partner, like anyone really who's invited into my inner circle. They have to be seeking and integrating the tool. I like the work. They have to be doing the work. And I also operate as someone who has wanted to save people, wanted to jump in and abandon myself to support. But that's just so chaotic, and everyone ends up going up in flames. So again, you really taught me, what it looks like to practice self-care while also caring for friends. And that's
You're
very
so sweet to say that, because I feel like I am working on that every day. So I really appreciate it.
It's work.
That's not how I see myself necessarily, but I think having the mom that I did, and like codependency was encouraged and the model and like what one should strive for. So I really appreciate you saying that. And for me, when I think of like big lessons that you've taught me, it's silly to say, but symbiosis 2015.
Oh my gosh.
We were having an enhanced experience and you forced me to receive a massage from you.
Oh yeah, baby.
And I like couldn't do it, didn't want to receive. And like, I remember crying in front of all these strangers, and like, it was as stereotypical as it sounds, like at a music festival on dirt floor, getting a rub down from a bestie. It really changed my life, because it was this person that I trust and know and love so deeply also being like, you need this and I will give it to you, as much as you may try to squirm. And it helped me shift into receiving more.
Yeah, I will never forget that. It was like,
you had to hold me down.
You were. Yeah, we had a. Yeah. I vividly remember that.
Yeah, that was a really profound experience.
Well, I'm glad that was me teaching that lesson, not some sleazy dude on the dirt floor at a festival.
Yeah, for real. Oh my gosh, like the guy we were hanging out with before that we had to ditch on the dance floor.
Yeah.
I still have his number. I don't know why I haven't deleted it. I was looking at it the other day, like, I'm never going to call this guy. I don't even know why I have his number.
That is crazy that you have his number. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say one other thing that you do that I really love. And you the way that you brought this into our friendship, like I apply it to other relationships. When I call you, after, of course, saying, do you have a minute to talk? And I say, I'm going through this. This is a crisis. I don't know what to do about this. Yada, yada, yada. You always ask, do you want advice in this moment, or do you just want to vent? And I love that question, because so often it's either one of those. And I don't even think about it. I just start word vomiting and sharing my day. And then you asking me that question really invites me. And again, no expectation of answer. Sometimes I think, you know what? I feel better already. I just needed to talk to someone that I love as much as I love you. And I think I'm good. And sometimes I'm like, no, I could really use your perspective on this. But just that simple question, such a beautiful thing, I think, to bring to friendships.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're really gassing me up, girl.
I know.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, I was not expecting. Again, the giving, right? You're like giving a lot to me, and I'm like, ooh.
Well, you told me that you had a hard day, so.
I stepped in dog poop and slipped in oil. That's why this show is late. Both in my house. In my kitchen, actually. Yeah. Another thing I think we've done really beautifully to build our friendship over the years, especially because Hailey and I haven't really lived in the same city since 2010 or 20. Yeah. And so it's been a decade of long distance friendship, and I and you, we've made a really concerted effort to get together. And I think you, especially because you're good at planning fun, you're really good at that. I'm more like, where does the wind blow me? Okay, I'm here now. This is fun. This isn't fun. I'm going to go over there where it is fun. But you're like, let's do this thing. Like, let's go to Mexico. What are the dates, you know? And that's been incredible, because I think a lot of our experiences, even the one we're going to have next month for your year of sobriety party and birthday, you know, like you planned it. You like booked the thing. You're like, these are the dates. And so it's like, okay, that gives me something to center around so that we can anchor. And I think that's super important in keeping a long-term friendship. And
yeah, it is. I mean, it's like a marriage. We have to plan our anniversary trips and I think that's the thing, is that I've had a lot of, you're one of my longest friendships. And in some ways, I do think it's really important to treat it like a marriage, to make it special. And, another thing that you do, God, this is so romantic. I have more love letters from you than any person I've ever dated. I have a chest full of love letters from you. You wrote me letters in the toughest times of my life. You wrote me so many letters when I was in rehab, and just your words. If you know that my love language is words of affirmation, and you shower me with it, and it's really, I think, so I don't know if we're giving advice to other people how to do
we are. How to build it to last, baby. I
think learning your friends' love languages is really important. So, you know, that's why I forced that massage on you, because I know you're just tired.
Yeah, baby. And then I'm like, don't love me the way I want to be loved.
Yeah, it's hard to receive, right? Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can open this letter right now. I'm not ready to receive so much love.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I can't believe you've kept them through all your moves, because you and I have moved equally. That's another thing that's unique about Hailey and I's friendship, is I've moved 17 times in the last 6 years, and you could probably
I'm up there
with me.
Yeah.
And different countries and different states and all over the place. So for you to have kept those, that means a lot. That's really beautiful. And the organizer in me is like, seriously, you don't have to keep those. Like, you can recycle them. It's okay.
I was thinking about making a piece of art with them.
That's fun. Yeah, totally. Like an antique window, you could do that. Patina it.
Yes.
That would be a love letter window. Oh my gosh. Very cool idea. I know. I love that. Yeah. And I think, you know, something that people don't talk about in friendship a lot, which is powerful and important, is what we do in conflict.
Sure. Yeah. So you know, I'm pretty averse to conflict, as are you in some ways.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to cut you off. I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking that is definitely one of the reasons why we've lasted so long. Other friendships, I've had conflict, and I've gotten so scared, I walked away. And other friendships, like, you know, the conflict was more than the love, and so it was time to walk away. But there have been times when I've been really, like, we've had conflict, and I've been so uncomfortable, and I didn't want to talk about it, and then I came to you, and it went really well. And so that's another thing that being friends for as long as we've been friends has taught me, is that stuff is just as important as the gushy stuff.
Yeah, and being able to bring that to the table, definitely. I think something that's helped me in coming to the table with you for conflict, because definitely, like, we both have, like, loud, fiery mamas. And so for me, there's this element of, like, people get big and loud, and I'm, like, very averse to that. And so I have never experienced you to, like, yell or scream at me. And so I know in coming to you with conflict or with a rub or something that doesn't feel right, like, I know that the way we're going to navigate it is not going to be triggering of my childhood or mama trauma.
Yeah.
That we're going to be able to, even if we don't have the words, like, even if it's like, I can't talk about this or I don't know what to say, that it's going, when it is talked about or discussed, it's going to be done in, like, a safe, comfortable manner.
Yes. That makes me want to cry. That's a really beautiful way to say that. And I think a couple things about what you just said. One, we took the time to learn each other's childhood traumas to avoid triggering. And we know.
Well, and we lived in it with each other. So I think that's
we did. That's true. We grew up in it. You saw my parents.
Yeah, we like drove to high school together every day.
Totally.
Your dad made us walk like 5 blocks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're very gentle with each other. And you said something so beautiful the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. You said, our relationships are all opportunities to rewrite really painful previous stories.
Mm-hmm.
Or just
I think that was actually today's call. Who knows? We talk so often. No, but it was. Yeah.
But it's true. And so sometimes, like you said, sometimes I'll bring up something that hurt my feelings, and it's my old pattern and my old story to assume that when I bring up something that hurt my feelings, I'm going to get yelled at, or it's going to be met with serious conflict or pushback or denial. So every time you don't react that way when I bring up conflict, it's healing a little part of me.
Yeah, and for me, it's showing me this is what conflict can look like.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are there any lasting words of wisdom on the subject of building a forever friendship that you want to share, my dove?
I mean, I would highly recommend sending your best friend your nudes, because we've been doing that for each other, or your sexy pics that you're thinking about sending.
For years, you've been doing that.
Just send them to your BFF, if she's as great as mine, for a little ego boost at any time of day.
Oh my gosh, I love that you shared that. That is so fun. Hailey and I have been doing that for years, like even when we had boyfriends. And it was like way more fun to send them to you than to the guy I was with. Like, because also I was telling her recently, like, how we communicate as women and best friends, if a man were to say those things, would be so not okay.
Oh, that's real. Yeah, for sure. What did you? Yeah, I was just going to repeat it, but yes.
But it's just like, ooga, ooga.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, I'm very thankful that we have that. I don't know if that's not as spiritual.
Oh, I love
that's
it.
That's the hot part of the Conscious
Hotline. You want a long-lasting friendship? You show her your naked body on the regular. Not always naked. Sometimes it's just the shadow. Sometimes it's lingerie.
That's true. We send each other artsy nudes.
Yeah, exactly. The artsier, the better. And that's the thing is, like, when you send them to a female best friend, she can actually appreciate, like, oh, the shadow, that thigh gap. Wow, your muscle tone in your left arm.
Yeah,
you notice the little things.
Or that you were like wearing lipstick in the photo. Men don't notice that.
Yeah, totally. Literally before we got on, I was like, I gotta wear lipstick for Hailey. She loves lipstick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in my pajamas and I put lipstick on for you.
Oh.
That's love, man. That's how you keep it alive. Yeah, I think it really is about like finding out what makes that person tick, both positive and negative.
Yes, love language and conflict style, I would say.
And then learning to navigate those in a loving and compassionate way.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. It's been such a joy to connect with you, darling. Thank you for your time. I love you.
I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Mwah, 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 mwah. And everyone watching, tag your bestie. I'm about to post this. So tag your bestie and share it with them. And let us know if you have other ideas for how to navigate a best friendship that lasts for decades.
Yes. I would
Here's to another 15 years, darling. I'll cheers my water with you.
I love you.
I love you too.